Welcome to How Much for Just the Podcast.
Welcome indeed.
Again, I assume you know what you're listening to because you
If this is your first,
downloaded it.
if this is your first episode, boy, are you going to be lost very quickly.
Well, we're already lost.
Yes.
We do have an additional guest this week.
Yes. So we should introduce ourselves first, and then our guest.
I'm Damo.
I'm Mick.
And I'm Caili. Hi.
Caili's our red shirt.
Our red shirted guest.
Because we figured, because Caili doesn't watch Star Trek and hasn't watched Star Trek and doesn't know anything about Star Trek, so we figured the Star Trek episode to make her watch is not a Star Trek episode at all.
It's not but Kirk was there.
It was so the episode we're discussing this week is Assignment to Earth.
Our journey through the Star Trek universe in universe order has reached Earth year 1968.
1968. And so Assignment Earth was written as a pilot of a different show.
It was. I looked that up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it never got off the ground, so they reworked it into a backdoor pilot that, again, never took off.
I did. I looked that up. It was really interesting.
That was like that little wink to camera at the end of the episode. I'm skipping to the end of the episode again. I've done it again. Every bloody episode I do this. At the end of the episode, like, Kirk sort of, you've got many adventures yet to come. No, you don't.
It was at that moment where I picked up my phone to Google to find out what, like, the other end of this episode was going to be. Was it something that I'd missed? Was there something else? Because he was famous too.
Yeah, he was.
I've forgotten his name now. I looked him up and I looked through. Well, he was on, what's the cowboy one? The famous
Bonanza.
cowboy Bonanza.
Yeah.
He'd been on Bonanza and all kinds of things. And he was in the $6 Million Man as well. But
Was he?
Movie.
Oh.
He was like a general in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had that face.
Yeah.
You know, that 80s kind of general man in charge face, 70s and 80s.
Yep.
So he would have been well suited to the show had it gone ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you get some of those people who are just like, you look at them and go, yes, military figure. Yes.
Assignment Earth.
Assignment Earth is what we were talking about. Backdoor pilot that never got off the ground. I don't think it's outside of the realms of possibility that we may see because they keep going back to the original era these days. It's possible that they may do like a special. I don't think it's likely.
There could be a callback to it at some point, but I don't think it's really necessary.
Yeah. There was a bit of a callback in Picard season 2, though. Not Laris was.
Yeah, they sort of implied that was in the same job as Gary. Yes,
which is
it's interesting because, as we said, the guy had effectively a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
And that is effectively what it was, but it was the 1960s. Like the episode was set in 1968, but it also came out in 1968.
Yes,
I researched. I'm very proud. And I've just looked up because I didn't know, and you guys probably knew this off the top of your head. What was the first year Doctor Who came out?
63.
There you go. I knew somebody would know it off the top of their head.
Well, it's also hard to forget because last year was literally last year, 2023, they made a lot of big deal about being 60th anniversary.
Yeah.
I may have missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we got all those specials. It was like the 60th anniversary specials.
Oh, you're right. I've literally seen David Tennant on my TikTok going, it's 60 years of Doctor Who. Oops. Anyway, it makes me wonder.
Yes, it is, David.
Yeah, we don't need to listen to what he has to say. So it makes me wonder, going back to 1968, with Doctor Who coming out in 1963, and then they were doing this as a quote-unquote backdoor pilot for this new show with a guy who had a magical sonic screwdriver type thing and then like a magical door in his office that would teleport him to wherever he wanted to go. I'm like, maybe you were trying to tap in just a little bit on the Doctor Who market.
It's possible, but also in that time period, it wasn't so common for people to see TV shows that were in other countries.
Well, this is my thought, right?
Yeah.
So they probably didn't. I would be surprised, and we could probably look it up, but we won't, if Doctor Who had actually come to America 5 years later, but somebody may have seen Doctor Who and gone, hey, they'll never know, we'll just write this.
I don't think the sonic screwdriver can, give people... Because every time he used it on... I'm talking Gary 7 back to Star Trek. He used it on a person, they just get this big shit-eating grin on themselves.
And sometimes there was no direct response, was there?
No.
It was some people had kind of collapsed and some people got a big grin and did what they were told. And so there was no...
It was weirdly like it exactly what the plot demanded of it at that moment in time.
Like some sort of plot device.
I mean, yes, literally, but also exactly what they do with the sonic screwdriver.
Yes.
Should we tell people what happened in this story?
We could.
Yeah, I mean, we can give a quick overview. Basically, the Enterprise is back in 1968 for reasons.
Historical investigation.
This was a weird one. In fact, I think is the first time where they just, it was
We're
like
just there.
the Enterprise was routinely assigned to just go back in time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was no big deal.
Which has never been done since, and
Really? Never.
No, like these days in Star Trek canon, there's what's called the Temporal Prime Directive, in which you do not interfere with the past, and you don't travel back deliberately,
Okay.
because you might stuff up the present. Happens a lot.
That's pretty much a given in time travel.
Yes.
You just, the butterfly effect.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Indeed.
so deliberately sending a ship back to 1968 is not a thing that they would tend to do in modern Star Trek. It's just like, usually the time travels is result of shenanigans, or the slingshot maneuver, which came about in Tomorrow Is Yesterday, which I think is our next episode.
Yeah, this is the thing is like
So the next episode actually happened chronologically beforehand.
Yeah. So
Trek terms.
Yeah, so the callback they're doing, how they do the time travel in this one, is established in a previous episode that we're watching
which is next episode.
Am I suffering from a butterfly effect now? Is that what's going on?
No, this is just like if you smell burnt toast, it's just that how the
Okay, cool.
it's just what happens. We could have got, because you're a massive Buffy fan. We could have got you on like for the Enterprise one where the bad guys were the vampires from Buffy.
The vampires from Buffy?
They look like vampires
the
from-
master from season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the big bad guy in the
Yep.
the aliens
With the teeth.
the
and
alien
the
space
ears and
Nazi looked like the master.
Yeah.
So we decided that after they defeated him there, he stuck around and probably went to Sunnydale and a couple of decades later.
So when was that? Recently?
2005-ish?
Yeah, 2000.
Oh, okay.
Recently, 20 years ago.
Excuse me. 2005 was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I stand by it. 3 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 4. It's just it.
1980 was 20 years ago.
It was. And ever so shall be. Good God.
But yes,
Time travel shenanigans.
so we could have got you on for that episode, but that one is the worst one to watch in chronological order, because they're doing references to because it's the conclusion of like a whole series plot line,
Okay.
and it makes literally no sense. Like you see these like a bad guy shows up and is killed.
Even
off.
even as a resolution watched in sequence, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it was.
Have you done this episode already?
We have.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I listened to that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we've got a listener. That's weird.
I think that was the only one I listened to, but
This is perfect. Yep.
I'd listened to everything else and I needed something else to listen to and it came up.
We were the very last choice. But yes, so instead we got you on for the non-Star Trek episode,
Fair enough.
which is Gary 7.
Yeah.
Assignment
Which
Earth.
is, yeah.
I
And
don't
I
know.
was very confused when he just arrived.
Yeah.
I think we all were, because I mean it's obvious like they had a script that did a thing, and they just needed to intersect it with Star Trek somehow. It's like okay, well it's in the 20th century, so let's put the Enterprise in the 20th century for routine reasons.
Yeah.
And literally put them in the middle of Gary's arrival.
We've intercepted a transporter beam. Is that a thing we can do? Not really. But
Is it
okay.
been
Can
done
a tran-
before?
Nah.
Can transporters go from one planet to another? Yeah, that's not a regular thing.
I mean, they did mention that in the episode.
They
It's
did.
I
like-
mean, look, it's strongly implied that he comes from a very massively technologically
yeah,
advanced.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, they literally said like it's from thousands of light years, and Scotty says like, that's not possible. And then it's like it's not possible for you, but it's possible for us. Blah, blah.
Yeah. Which is nice. I mean, I kind of like it when they do that to Star Trek occasionally, so showing that like, no, this is not the pinnacle of technology. This is there is other stuff out there. I don't think they do it enough.
And this guy turns up with like a cat in his arms.
Yes, Gary. Gary has a cat.
Gary has a cat.
Gary
called
has a
Isis.
cat that may not be a cat.
Well, this is I had to laugh because they so desperately needed to give the cat a gender that they put a diamante necklace on the cat.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. Why would you? You are so desperate to like have her be a her that she's wearing a diamante necklace, and then kept going, are you jealous to the cat when he spoke to like the other woman in the script?
Most unbecoming.
Yeah.
And then she turns into a woman at the end of the episode for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it took years to actually find the actress
Yes.
who played that the like human form of Isis.
Yeah, she was uncredited for years.
Yeah.
She should not have been uncredited.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But like I think it was only like 2015 that they found out who she was.
Oh, really? I knew it took years, but I didn't know when. But then, like, he arrives with his cat in his hand, and he starts talking to them, and then he just lets the cat go, and they're just like, okay, random cat wandering the ship now.
There's all sorts of things that happen for plot reasons, like even like because Kirk and Spock have to be involved.
But they're not.
But they're not.
Yeah.
And there's an entire season where they're just like, the scenes where they're just like, they're just standing around a room going, well, I guess we can't do anything right now.
We'll just stand here.
Towards the end, like they get captured and they're just allowed to stand in the back of the room, the main room where they're doing all of the bloody the rocket
space thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like they're standing there with their phasers and communicators in reach and just going, oh well.
Well, also they were
What do we
standing
do?
there with their hands behind their back, and I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense. They've got them handcuffed or something, and then he just grabs something because they're not even fucking handcuffed.
Yeah.
Like this is
the guys looking at the communicators. Are, hello, and it's just, actually you got to turn this dial, and he does the Vulcan neck pinch.
Also, we'll get into that. But also, how does he know to talk into like it's 1968? First of all, he's pulled these things out that are like communicators and phasers and whatever they are, and put them on the bench and gone, that's all they had on them. You've never seen anything that looks even remotely like that before, and you've just left them on the bench. This is NASA.
Yeah.
You've seen sciencey things come out, and you're just going, oh, look, we've got more important things to do than worry about the technology we've never seen before.
We got a nuclear bomb to launch into orbit.
No one at any point goes, maybe these are communists.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Right.
I would have loved that on the episode if like when the communicator opens up, if it's Chekhov on the other end, because that would have been funny.
Yes.
So like, hello.
Yeah. But I mean, no, it's like, well, you look like a respectable gentleman, so until you tell us who you are, we'll just assume that you're fine. As
You
like,
stay here and don't do anything.
No. If you don't tell us who you are very soon, we're going to have to ask you very sternly again.
But also, like, awful. I know this is awful. I could not believe they actually paint, like, Spock's makeup is yellow.
Yeah.
It's yellow undertones. It's like a deliberate, we just need to remind you
That he's alien.
that this man is not just alien, but the man playing him also has, what we consider yellow skin. Because they, like, if you look at the makeup, it's not a lot. He's not like bright yellow.
No,
but there's makeup that has pink
tinged.
undertones
Yeah.
and makeup that has like orangey yellow undertones, and they deliberately picked like yellow makeup for Spock. I'm like, oh, this is not.
And the eyeshadow that sort of goes,
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that eyeshadow. I have it on myself.
I'm just wondering because, like, they always put a hat on Spock to hide the ear. I often wonder if they actually bothered putting the prosthetic ears on under that.
Under the hat.
Like, was Nimoy method enough that he'd insist that the ears be there?
That's a good question.
I mean, look, was method acting a thing back then?
Oh, it must have been.
I mean,
Actors will
probably.
act. I mean,
yeah, actors.
come on. It must have been.
Nimoy especially. Well, Nimoy, Shatner maybe not.
Shatner
was,
absolutely, but I'm Captain Kirk would have been his pickup line all of the time. I thought he was pretty calm in this episode.
Yeah, because
because he wasn't in it.
They just didn't do anything. And that's the other thing is like they spend most of the episode like running around after Gary, and at the end of the episode they're just like, oh, actually we were supposed to be here, and why didn't you Google that first, dickheads? You could have just not chased him. It's just, Gary 7, he's in the history books. Okay, we'll leave him the fuck alone.
Just chasing him down there, doing all of those things, and he's like, I'm trying to like create peace.
Yeah.
I don't want them to put a nuke into orbit. Let's create peace.
Well, maybe the last person who used the 1968 memory database tapes didn't rewind it. and they had to like get someone down to like engineering to rewind the memory tape before they could watch it through again and get an answer.
Get some crewman to do it. He was busy watching old episodes of Doctor Who
that they'd brought over from Britain.
Yeah.
Speaking of Britain, though, this to me echoes Sapphire and Steel a lot, which I don't think you've seen, is it?
No.
Have you ever watched any of Sapphire and Steel, Caili?
No, I don't. What is Sapphire and Steel?
British 70s TV sci-fi series, Joanna Lumley and some guy.
Which actually is every single Joanna Lumley.
Everything that she's ever been in.
Joanna
Lumley and some guy.
With the exception of Ab Fab.
Oh, well,
which was Joanna Lumley and some girl. That's not true.
So basically, Joanna Lumley and Guy are exterior, galactic forces agents trying to maintain that everything happens correctly. And they appear on Earth when weird stuff's happening. It's like the X-Files if Mulder and Scully were from space.
Okay.
I like the idea of that.
But there's no consistency. There's no attempt to have like some kind of coherent mythology. It's great. It's kind of great in that way because they don't try and explain why these people are here and what they're doing. They just are. Their whole point is to be outsiders from a more powerful thing, and they're going, well, time is working funny here. There's something wrong with time, and they're all named after elements and jewels.
So it's touched by an angel.
Kind of. Does sound touched by an angel.
That's Michael Landon.
But yeah, they're all named after like all the space ladies are gemstones and all the the space gentlemen are metals. So we got Sapphire and Steel.
So it's Steven Universe.
Yeah, very close actually. Yeah. But there's all these implications of like transuranic elements, like the really radioactive type things. It's like the agents. The transuranic elements will never be deployed in places where life exists because they're incompatible type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we have people who can show up like gold and lead and diamond. They've got a rogues gallery of colleagues. It's a fun watch.
Okay.
It's not great.
But
its main flaw is it's broken up into multi-part episodes like Doctor Who was, the Doctor Who serial. Okay. So like they're 4-part series. A story will be split across 4 parts.
Yep.
And so some of the pacing's just way off because there's just not enough story to do that.
Yep.
So they artificially create a cliffhanger at the end of episode 2 and resolve it instantly at the beginning of episode 3 and just pick up where you left off.
Yep.
Which Doctor Who did all the time as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a product of that time. It's 70s British sci-fi.
Yeah.
It has not aged well, but it's intriguing in its premise and execution.
And it does sound interesting.
And it really echoes a lot of Assignment Earth to me.
Okay.
That kind of like, a person from the outside trying to make sure that things happen as they're supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like that's what I presume the Assignment Earth series would have been is Gary Seven and
Roberta.
Roberta, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was fascinated with Roberta.
Yeah.
She was interesting. She, runs in immediately, running late to work because, of course, all good secretaries are always a bit ditzy and have to run in late to work in that amazing outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just...
Yeah.
That the pinks and the oranges and the matching jacket and skirt and, like, handbag and top, like, all just delectable. I loved every second of that outfit. If I wore colour and was built like her, used to be, I would absolutely wear like that whole matching outfit. It was glorious. But the thing that fascinated me was there's a thing that women have been like recently discovered as part of I'm a massive femo, as like women who are like owning their space and doing this thing, right? Where you may not have experienced this, but often when you're a woman walking on a footpath, if a man is coming at you, he will expect you to move. He will walk straight at you and the expectation is you are the one who will go around. You are the one who will not. And something that's recently started, or at least in the past few years, something I've been doing for a long time because I'm tall and a bit of a bitch, is I won't dodge. I will walk directly, especially if I'm on the correct side of the footpath, which is the left side of the footpath.
I was going to say, because like I always drift left. I often have a moment where it's like, someone's also doing that, the drifting to the right, and like, which it's like, just do that.
Anyway,
so
back to Roberta. Yeah,
she's going in and doing exactly what a whole bunch of women are doing now, and that is there's a guy in her way. He's in the wrong spot. She just goes straight into him, and he looks very confused.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the best. They had a little bit of a dance around, but she was just like, you're in my way, I'm going through. And he didn't move. And the fact that she didn't like automatically put her head down and kind of, run away from him and just was like, get out of my way, move. Even though she didn't say it, it was all kind of, she was just like, you're in my way and you need to move. And they danced a little bit, but then she like just went through and he looked very confused. And my only thing was I picture myself on the tram a couple of months ago, and there was some big, quote unquote wannabe alpha dude standing there. He was about 6'3". He had a suit on, and he was on his phone blocking the exit row.
Oh,
the middle thing, standing there blocking the exit thing, with nobody around him, just standing in the way, expecting everyone to like slide past him. And I went full tilt, shoulder into his phone. He dropped his phone. He was like, are you right? I'm like, get out of the way. And the look of shock on his face that day was very much like the look of shock on the guy's face in this episode, where he was like, but she didn't excuse herself and try and like, she just wanted to get round me. And there was no like, I'm so sorry, sir. No, fuck you. Get out of the way. Absolutely moved.
But yeah, Roberta was probably like, she at least had a character. Like Gary Seven is just kind of there and just running around doing stuff. Like,
although her dialogue was a bit heavy-handed, it's like, well, that's why my generation's so angry.
Yeah, exactly. it was very much like.
Yeah. It was very heavy on. I actually, exposition, I was like, I love how the computer's security procedure is to make you do plot exposition.
I really loved it. It was kind of the first, hey Siri or hey Google, computer on.
Well, the Enterprise computer does that all the time. But
oh, really?
Yeah, like the actual computer on the ship, and it doesn't have a big wall that comes out. But yes, it was the same. It's the same sort of thing as the
computer on. Interesting. I told you I did a little bit of fact things. Roberta was played by Terry Garr, who, in one of her last roles, well, not last because she stopped performing in 2011 when she got diagnosed with MS, sadly, but in one of her more famous roles, played Phoebe's mother on Friends.
Oh.
She was Phoebe Senior, or Phoebe, like the Phoebe, she was the birth mother.
Right. What else has she been in? I feel like I know her name.
Could be pretty much anything out of her 158 credits.
Okay.
One place you personally may have seen it go past would be Batman Beyond.
Oh.
Mary McGuinness.
Yeah.
Voice. But yes, Terry Garr was in everything.
Yes. It was just the Friends one stuck out to me. But yeah, and the fact that she was all like, my generation, blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh, this is pro-hippie.
Yeah.
This is fairly impressive.
Star Trek has always been pro-hippie.
Yeah, well, they have.
Very much. Although there was the space hippies that were the bad guys too. Like,
I mean, I think this might have been just a marketing thing. It was like, we want to make a show, we want to make an action TV series for the young audience. We want to get them to watch it, so we better put one of them in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my generation.
Yeah.
It was adorable. And her outfit and the whole thing, it was terribly adorable, and I liked her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I did love that there was a moment in there where they start talking about meters, X amount of meters.
Yeah.
Were they always not the metric system? Did they never do yards?
NASA has always been metric system. Because there was famously a Mars rover that slammed very hard into the Mars surface because somebody did the calculations in feet instead of meters, and so it went kaplam, and that was like a few $1 billion.
Yeah,
just wasted.
That would make sense, but it stuck out to me because it's American, so it's usually yards or feet or whatever, and they start talking in meters, and I didn't realize Star Trek did meters, and that's probably why people are confused by it.
Yeah, well,
Well,
Americans are
Americans are always confused.
This is the thing. I think Americans have gone more hardline against the metric system in recent decades than they ever were in the past. Like in the past, it was kind of just, that's what everyone else does, but we're going to do it this way. Now it's like, oh no, this is the right way of doing things. It's like, no, it's not.
American exceptionalism is alive and well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I'm shocked,
exactly.
shocked and appalled.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they don't apply it everywhere. They're perfectly happy, say, to accept, say, 9 millimeters in some.
In
Big
schools,
fans
yeah,
of. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's. Ooh. It's got
Nice. Are we going to sidebar into the Republicans' latest where we're Star Wars fans anyway conversation?
Yeah,
Did you see this, Mike?
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
God.
Oh, yes, we saw
I think
it.
I sent it. Did I send it to you? I sent you the screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've put it on the pod, socials account,
yeah.
and many people have shared it around at this point. Yes,
Yeah, it's
It's so adorable.
Star Wars is too woke. That's why I'm a Trekkie and does the fucking
Vulcan
salute
backwards and
And also the fact that they think Star Trek is not woke. Like,
I mean, like
how could you possibly?
it's always has been. Like it always has been, always will be. It's the astronaut gun meme. Anyway.
I don't
Yes.
know the astronaut gun.
No,
name.
no one knows them anyway.
I know it. I just don't care about it.
You kids and your bloody memes and your ticky-tocks, I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, that whole thing just made me laugh.
Oh,
It's-
look, it crops up every now and again, and like particularly in Star Trek Twitter, which I am quite an active active member of. Every now and again, there'll be some fuckwit YouTuber or some dickhead that says, "Oh, I used to be a Star Trek fan, but now it's gone. Now there's a lady in charge of the Enterprise, and I don't like it." And it's just like, what are you fucking talking about, mate?
yeah,
It's like, what show have you been watching? Because it's not Star Trek.
yeah.
It's look, every 6 months or so, there's like a major sort of blow up.
Well, because who was it? Was it Michael who was non-binary, or did they have other non-binary character in Discovery?
In Discovery, the new kind of Trill, but not the character's name. I'm drawing a blank on.
Yeah, same. I mean, the character, to me, doesn't jump out in Discovery anyway. They don't seem to have a role.
I like him.
I don't know, but it's like it still feels like it was a bit heavily-handedly done,
I mean,
and there's like
heaven forbid Star Trek be heavy-handed in
no,
its
I know, but I mean, that's
My
the thing
generation.
Is, when they're heavy-handed, they usually go metaphorically, but when they're doing something that that they expect to have moved forward, they don't acknowledge it. It's like they should have come up and just gone, "I'm non-binary," and everyone goes, "Yes, of course you are. We all know this. Everyone around us is fine."
I mean, that is the thing.
But if they wanted to make a heavy-handed point of it, they do it allegorically through another civilization, and where someone's trying to be recognised and not being, and they can come saying, "Well, look, we have non-binary crew members. They're fine." And it's like because we're the advanced version of us.
Well, yes, by Discovery's timeline, particularly the timeline that it is at the moment, a non-binary person would be a non-event. It would have been not a big thing for Adira. I've just looked up the name.
That's right.
For Adira to say, "Hey, I'm not non-binary."
Yeah.
But it is a television show of the modern age.
Yes.
And making a point of doing that because it's like
I
doing an allegory
get
with an alien race. There is like. It is kind of problematic to do so when humans can be non-binary.
I mean, I don't dispute any of it happening. I just think the execution of it was poor in Discovery.
No.
I think Star Trek, contemporary Star Trek, could have done so much better.
I know some writers who use subtlety, and they're all cowards. They don't write for Star Trek. Star Trek is not a subtle. And this is what gets me about the fucking right wingers glomming onto it. Is it's never been subtle about its fucking leftism. It's never been subtle about its peace and love and anti-capitalism and that sort of thing. It's why it gets me that when Paramount tries to fucking sell NFTs of Star Trek and it's just like do you watch your own fucking show? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Shatner's been cracking the shits over the last week on Twitter, as he does. But this time it's actually about Star Trek because there's like a promotional banner on the Star Trek Twitter account, and he's not on it. And it's like,
oh,
fuck's sake.
He would not be happy about that.
He hasn't been in Star Trek for fucking 30 years now.
Still.
But yeah, no, he's not happy.
No, Generations was only 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We also went through that. I don't know if it like ended up on the cutting room floor that Shatner rewrote himself back into the continuity after they killed him off.
Yeah. It's Star Trek: The Return. I've got the book.
Yeah. I don't know if we actually put that out in an episode or whether that was just one of the discussions we had off mic or that didn't.
Yeah, I think it was just in a pub.
Yeah, because they killed him they killed Kirk in Generations, and then Shatner wrote. I'm doing air quotes for the listeners. Wrote a book, where
He got someone to write it for him.
where Kirk came back.
Nice.
So he resurrected himself.
Nice. No, I was interested, I suppose, going back to the episode, when they arrived at the office, how he somehow managed to know that it was them when they were knocking on the door. And then he goes and like says to Roberta, stop them from coming in. And she's trying to stop them. And instead of pulling out like their set phasers to stun famous line that they have where they've got these phasers and can do it, they just start grabbing her randomly, like properly.
Spock's right there. He has the Vulcan neck pinch.
Yeah.
Which like knocks people out.
See, I thought it was the death thing. So when he does it later on, I'm like, what? He just kills people now?
No. Isn't
it the Vulcan death grip?
The Vulcan death grip was kind of a made up thing, and it's basically
is that what happens when men masturbate too much? The Vulcan death grip. Silence. I've broken them both.
Get a pin. We'll find the hole. No, so that's the Vulcan nerve pinch is a thing that knocks people out because it was actually invented by Nimoy.
Okay.
Because one of the scripts had Spock punching someone out.
Okay.
And Nimoy said no, he's far more controlled than that. He'd have a different way of making someone go unconscious. What if we had a Vulcan nerve pinch that would render someone unconscious but passively?
So apparently he's happy to use that on men, but on women he has to grab and grope and do like it was quite a There was a lot of grabbing in that scene when they were trying to stop her. There was a lot of it was not. It was kind of not okay to the point where I've actually written it down, going they're just like groping her now.
Yeah.
Well, again, that may be a relic of it being written for a script being written that didn't actually have people with nerve pinches and phasers set to stun.
Yeah.
There may have been in the original script a direction that like they wrestle with her and whoever the antagonist would have been, maybe it was just like some random cops.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was played badly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good.
But I suspect it's possibly that the original script didn't have phasers and nerve pinches because it wasn't Star Trek.
Well, he was running into his transporter safe, which, by the way, I want to install into my bedroom.
Yeah.
I'd like a transporter safe, please.
I'd like one just to avoid the traffic going to work.
Yeah. I just to go anywhere because apparently you can get in and it will just send you anywhere. It'll send you into a shed at NASA or another room at NASA or. Actually, it just sends you to NASA. I'm not sure that we need to.
Well, this episode
go to NASA, but the transporter safe looks kind of
very
fun.
handy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have one.
I'd know about the computer that has an entire wall that comes out.
Well, they needed it then because that was only 12 megabytes of RAM. The banks of computers at NASA. Now, and one of you guys will be able to. Get this correct for me. I had a moment where I looked at that row upon row upon row of like desks and screens that were there and thought, did they actually connect to anything at that point? Was there like some kind of, in 1968, was there some kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like rugged kind of loose internet style connection. Was there a point of having screens on those desks? Were they connected to anything?
I don't know for certain how NASA ran their stuff. I think most of those stations were like just hardwired to very specific monitoring of very specific devices. Like, your terminal would have a direct link to like, a temperature sensor or something, and you're the guy who watches the temperature.
Yeah, so it was just to like an individual hardwire thing. It wouldn't have been like a rudimentary.
It wouldn't have been very flexible at all. No. I'd say no, not at all general purpose.
So there was no TikTok on those computers.
No, there was no TikTok.
Yeah, I looked at that bank after bank after
that guy's paying Gallagher.
Yeah.
I was about to do the same reference, but you beat me to it.
Also, did you notice that to get into NASA, Mr. Seven, whatever his name was, Gary, which, by the way, I'm sorry, Gaza.
Oh, that's got to go into Space Tradies. Gaza Sev
with his sonic screwdriver. He just randomly gets into a car and locks himself in the boot and assumes the car is going where he wants it to go. I'll just climb into the boot of this car and hopefully it's going to take me over to the thing that I want to get to. And it does.
Yeah, he used his sonic servo screwdriver thing to read the license plate and went, oh, that belongs to a NASA dude. And it's, 20 minutes past 8. So he's probably on his way to work.
And then he goes up to the top of the thing in an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we're going to lock the elevator at the top of this, for liftoff. No, you're not. Yeah, no, you're absolutely not.
Bad plan.
The elevator is going to get locked at the bottom of the tower and people will notice when it goes back up. It's not getting locked at the top. That's not how NASA, I would not expect that would, if anybody's listening and I'm wrong, feel free to whatever, but.
Well, just think about it. Like the elevator. Well, elevators work with a counterweight system, so one or the other bit has to be at the bottom or the top.
Mm.
So why not the car? I suppose it wouldn't matter which one's at the top and which one's at the bottom because they're supposed to be equivalently weighted.
Yeah, absolutely. And he just takes...
Just a bit of, engineering for you all there.
But the point of this whole thing of getting to the top was to stop takeoff, right? He wanted...
Well, because he wanted to sabotage, because he didn't actually want it to be sabotaged at takeoff because then they'd just try again later. His whole thing was he wanted to scare them out of sending nuclear weapons into orbit.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted a very near miss of an accident as they got at the end so that people would say, oh, maybe this is a bad plan.
Right. Okay, because
I
didn't understand.
The US has nuclear bombs in orbit. I feel like they would have nuclear weapons in orbit.
There's that weird prototype.
If they didn't before Trump did it.
Oh, yeah.
That's
why he's got Space Force.
There's that weird prototype shuttle that keeps orbiting up there for years, isn't there? The X5 or
that thing.
Yeah, there's a space shuttle owned by the military that flies around the Earth, and it's up there for years at a time, and no one knows what's on it. And
oh, good. That's
it's
great.
like a kind of a small scaled down space shuttle, and every so often they send it up, and it just flies around for a few years.
Flaps.
And then they bring it down sometimes and land it and put something else on it and send it back up again.
Refuel it. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much stuff there was in our orbit.
Oh, there's heaps.
Yeah.
Because whenever they send up a rocket, half of the fuel canisters or whatever that just get jettisoned, they stay in orbit.
Yeah, not just that. I didn't realize how many satellites and things that are just up there. So many companies have all of these
their own
things just going around the planet.
There's a kind of minor hobbyist thing of people re-establishing contact with forgotten and dead satellites and unlocking them. And
really,
yeah, some people have actually pulled this off. They've just got little radio transmitters and there's this thing that no one's turned on for ages, and they'll link up with it and try and reactivate it and break in, and they
have their own satellite.
Yeah,
wow.
Pretty much. It's the sort of thing that just makes me think that's amazing. That's the cyberpunk I want to live in.
Yeah.
Where people just just finding forgotten satellites and hooking up to them and going, right, that's mine now.
Imagine you've got your own satellite, and so you no longer need a phone plan. You can just have your phone connected.
That'd be the way.
Got
to
a
do
sat
it.
phone. How do you make your sat phone run? Well, I have my own satellite.
Yeah.
And it just follows you.
Optus outage. Fuck that. Got the geosynchronous Damo 1.
I love it.
The trend would seem to be that they're only abandoned and forgotten because they're not very good.
Yeah. They're not useful anymore.
It's like, I can turn on a radio and see that thing that goes beep every 10 minutes.
It's the machine that goes bing.
Yeah. Well, I told it that I can tell it to go beep differently.
I changed the beep to a whoop.
Speaking of satellites, did you notice how impressive the zoom was when the Enterprise was like hijacking a satellite to look at what he was doing on the rocket when he was trying to disable it? It was just like zoom in closer, and he got like this incredible, like clear as a bell picture zoomed in from this satellite,
or the like
from multiple different angles.
Yeah, different angles, which oddly enough looked like helicopter footage from
an actual launch.
From an actual launch.
Yep.
Weird, right? Who knew satellites could do that?
And then it was like zoom in.
Yeah.
It's the running joke.
Zooms in on his face.
Yeah.
Like it says, I can see him now, so I can beam him up.
Honestly, iPhone would be jealous of the zoom. Not Samsung, their zooms are pretty good, but iPhone would be really...
This is a relic of always what the perception of technology is versus the reality, because I think even now people assume that satellite imaging is so much better than it actually is. And there's just inherent limitations that you can't get around.
I saw Enemy of the State starring Will Smith and Gene Hackman. I know that they can zoom in on people's faces if they look up. They've just got to look up.
Crown, and after I'd been there for a while, they were looking for people to work in their like security headquarters.
That'd be a fun job.
Thing, yeah. But I needed not for me.
No,
it'd be fun for you. You'd like it. But for me, I need to be up and about and talking to people, and these people are literally like glued to their screens all day, watching. And they were playing us videos that they'd captured of people like cheating at the tables and stealing chips, and a dealer who'd been like putting chips into his sock and like all kinds of stuff. And it was really interesting to see how they'd caught it, because like people are ingenious and people do all kinds of stuff. Like they were playing, what's the dice game?
Craps?
No, the cards
Dungeons
game
and
with
Dragons.
the two. No, is it Baccarat?
Monopoly? I know that's got cards.
That's got cards and dice.
Baccarat's a card game.
Yeah, I think it's Baccarat, and that's the one where they all stand around and they're all trying to work out what's gonna. Anyway, he had the Baccarat booklet that they put on every table so people can actually keep track of what's won and what's lost and whatever. And they put double-sided tape on the back, so he would like lean over to congratulate someone for winning, lean the brochure with the double-sided tape on a pile of chips and take the brochure away and pick up like a couple of chips from the top, and nobody would notice. But one of the things that they showed us was they had a camera in the top of Crown Towers, right up the main Crown Towers building. And at the time, there was a direct line of sight to the McDonald's in South Melbourne, which is a decent line away. Like the camera, so they had a camera above a 21 table in Crown Towers in the big open section that you can see from the Yarra, which is like their high end. It's called Crystal Club. And they turned the camera around and they zoomed in on someone standing outside the South Melbourne McDonald's, and they zoomed in and we could see that they were eating like the kind of burger that person was eating. Oh, yeah. So if you are looking for high-end camera technology, casinos is the place you want to find it.
I mean, that's still on a much smaller line of distance than space.
Than space, yeah.
True. Yeah. Oh, dear. So then at the end of the episode, I don't know whether we're there yet, but this just struck me.
We usually start at the end and come back to everything else.
They're all back in the office. They're all like doing the maybe you'll have more adventures thing. And Roberta is just kind of sitting there quietly like the good secretary she's supposed to be. And the cat turns into a person. And she says nothing about the cat turning into a person.
Yeah.
The cat just turns humanoid and like grins at her. Like, and the hottest woman.
She's a hippie. She's done some acid. She's seen things turn into other things.
I mean, she does say, well, who the hell is that?
Yeah, but like she gets up and goes over to the guy and waits to interrupt him to say, who the hell is that? She doesn't just go, person.
There's a person on the couch.
Yeah, there was a cat and now there's a humanoid-looking thing.
Well, I mean, she's seen transporters and stuff happening by now, right?
Yeah.
You know,
it's hardly the weirdest thing she's seen all day.
I feel like it is the weirdest thing she's seen all day.
Yeah,
Think about...
I mean, people vanishing, like the cops vanishing in front of her eyes. It's just Charlie.
Oh, the cops just arriving on the Enterprise and then going again?
Yeah.
Just
And not shooting anyone.
That's
Weird.
No, well, and it's in America too. It was 1968, and they weren't black people. So.
Yeah, they only saw white people, so they didn't.
They did. That's.
They didn't feel scared.
Yeah. Poor police. But yeah, just randomly, cat turns human. Girl goes, that's weird. Who's she? Not what the fuck just happened.
That's just my cat.
I think at this point she's like just going with it. She's like, okay, yeah, I'm in something.
Because I mean the cat's implied throughout the episode to be intelligent. Like my favorite bit was like when Gary sort of like attacks the Enterprise officers, the cat just jumps on a security guard and he's wrestling with the cat.
I know.
That was my favorite. It's like, yeah. Also, Gary's got his sonic screwdriver in the fucking brig. Like, they put him in the force field and he's still got his sonic screwdriver. They should have probably searched the guy.
Pat down.
Well, if they'd done that, he couldn't have got out and the plot wouldn't have advanced.
Almost like the Enterprise wasn't supposed to be in the episode at all. It's not the greatest episode to introduce to the I should have waited till Voyager. You'd like Janeway.
I do like Janeway. Look, I've seen bits and pieces of Star Trek. I've just not ever kind of deep dived into it.
Janeway's, I've said before, is like my favourite captain because her defining characteristic is that she's fucking good at her job.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, it's just she's like, the wild cowboy Kirk. She's not like, the good team builder Picard. It's like, she's the captain of a starship and knows what she's doing.
That's and better at it than anybody, two times better than anybody else at being a captain. Yeah. That's called being a woman. Yeah. She's not allowed to have quirks. She has to be the best at her job. Yeah. Having quirks is for men.
Yeah. Yeah, she's running her starship backwards and in high heels.
Yes.
This, I think, is the first time when contemporary dates and times and Star Trek coincided, isn't it? This is the first episode.
Yesterday.
When was that? Was that set the same date as the?
No, like it's a bit up because we're watching this one first.
No, I just mean like in terms of what they did. Is this the first episode they did that was set in the present day of broadcast?
Probably,
because this is the first time. This was broadcast in 1968 and set in 1968.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah. So this is the first time they did that.
And like they only did it because Assignment Earth was supposed to be set modern day.
Yeah. But the other ones where they went into the 20th century wasn't the same as the same.
It wasn't the same year.
Yeah. Edith Keeler was like back in the 30s.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything else was not right now.
I mean, the only other time that they've really done that is Future's End. Like Voyager, Future's End, they went back to 1996. It was broadcast in 1996.
Well, Voyage Home was...
Voyage Home, yeah.
Voyage Home.
Yeah.
And Picard Season 2 was in the future.
Picard Season 2 was...
roughly contemporary.
Yeah, kind of.
Is Picard Season 2 not fun?
I don't like it.
Okay.
It's my least favourite bits of Star Trek. Right?
I haven't watched any of it.
Counterpoint, very short treks.
Yeah. That doesn't exist. As far as I'm concerned, very short treks never happened.
Oh, I don't. The only Star Trek I've been watching recently is, what's the cartoon one?
The
animated?
Oh, Lower Decks.
Lower Decks, love it.
Yeah.
That is really good fun. I'm into the good fun, happy, cheery things.
Yeah.
Lately, because the world is broken.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we need a good optimistic future to look forward to.
Do you know of any?
Well, I mean, Trek's pretty good, but like I'm highly aware of what we have to go through to get to there.
Yeah, look, my mother, who is like not even a boomer, she's a quiet generation. She's 2 years before the boomers, admitted the other night that she realised climate change was real. That's how fucked the world is.
She's come around to the idea of climate change.
Turning 80 and gone, yeah, I think climate change is a real thing.
Do you think?
Because the world's kind of fucked. Yeah. And I went, oh, good. Okay, that's great.
Okay, so one down, about 9,000 million to go.
Yeah. Look.
9,000 million.
9,000
They're not dropping fast.
No. Just bump them off. Put them all in red shirts. Put all the old people in red shirts and send them to the Enterprise.
Listen, I am the token red shirt here, and I don't want them.
Fair enough. So, what do we think all up of Assignment Earth? Then should we do the wrap up where we go? Oh yeah, it was all right.
It filled in an hour.
I would have watched that series probably if they'd made it.
They're doing the Section 31 movie. And like most Star Trek spin-offs these days are just another variation of Star Trek. You're on a ship, you're exploring strange new worlds. This is a spin-off of Star Trek that would have been based on Earth, and you could have done some fun things with that. Like there could have been some interesting crossovers, and you know, it's not outside of the realms of possibility. Paramount, call me to do a TV movie of the further adventures of Gary, Seven, and Roberta. And recast it and whatever. Do a one-off movie and see how it goes. I don't care.
Or they've already like reseeded that the role that Gary was filling was still existing in the Picard era. So like maybe they've just they've established like these people keeping an eye on Earth are still there.
Well, there's no original ideas coming out of Hollywood, so the fact that this is already part of the universe, why not?
Yeah. The only thing I see about like the problematic part of like people trying to make sure history goes as it's supposed to go is like Star Trek history for Earth is about to get really dark.
It's going to get rough, yeah.
Like in Star Trek's future history, we're on the precipice that pretty much nearly wipes out humanity.
So same as now?
And that's the thing.
Same as non-Star Trek.
Forces us to unify, to overcome things, and just like leaves us going, well, let's form a unified government and be better people. And
so we're wiping out America.
2024 is when shit kicks off. Like it's 2024 is you got the Bell riots, which is a bunch of sanctuary cities in the US where they just shove all the homeless people and people who are without jobs.
So
they just shove them in in sanctuary cities, and there's some riots because
I feel like I've seen something about that in the Star Trek thing. Anyway, so that's coming.
So that's 2024.
The wild thing is
lined up.
The wild thing is though that's even the Star Trek utopian ideal of treating the homeless as opposed to what we're really doing right now. It's just like imagine how good it would be if we actually let homeless people sleep in unused buildings.
You can't do that.
That would be so much better than what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not where they sleep in tents and then the tents get ripped apart by the police and it's gross. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Star Trek's utopian dystopia.
Yeah.
Is still better.
Star Trek's version of this is as bad as this is as horrible as it gets. It's still better than the current thing. But anyway, so after the Bell riots, then the eugenics wars kick off.
Oh God.
Yeah. The eugenics wars then descend into World War III, nuclear apocalypse. And then around 2370, 2360, we get Zephram Cochrane invents warp drive. It was 2063.
21 something, isn't it?
2063, I think.
2063, yeah.
Doesn't sound right. Did we find a way to wash the nuclear waste right out of our hair?
It's Zephram Cochrane's ship, the first the Phoenix that was the first was a converted nuclear missile.
Okay.
He turned a nuclear missile into a warp capable ship, which made the Vulcans realize they couldn't ignore us anymore because we weren't going to stay put.
Right.
And they came and said, hello, let's start working through this together.
Right, okay. All right. I never knew how it all kind of came about. That's really interesting.
That's the Star Trek.
Interesting.
Canon. We got to go through a war.
We got about 40 years of real shit to get through first.
Yeah.
Just like real life. Well, you're going to kick that off in April?
Yep. We're going to start the eugenics wars in April. No, but yes. So fun times.
Fun times indeed.
So what was your thoughts on the episode?
Look, I could see them doing that again currently, but they would have real issues with that sonic screwdriver, like I reckon the copyright Russell from over there would get a little bit upset at the sonic screwdriver copyright being used. But outside of that, I quite enjoyed it. Like it wasn't bad. It was a tad long.
Yeah.
It was a little bit drawn out. They didn't have enough words. There was a couple of gaping plot holes, like, you know, really no handcuffs. You're just going to stand them in the control room and let them watch. With no handcuffs, and you're a scientist.
Just let them watch.
Just let them watch. And the scientists are ignoring the science things on the table and like some gaping plot holes. But all in all, it was fine. It was fine.
I think if they'd made this Mission Earth series, I think it could have assignment. I think if they'd made the Assignment Earth series, it would have been a watchable thing.
Yeah,
there was some good ideas there, but like anything, it could have been ruined.
It could have been
at any point.
It could have been shithouse, but like, you know,
like the Star Lost. They could have
the Star Lost. Star Lost was was written by Harlan Ellison, famously curmudgeonly. He was not a happy man.
Right.
Like
he demanded his name be removed from it.
Yes.
So cranky.
Yeah.
He's a very cranky man.
But also
brilliant writer.
But also like it was one of the things where it was a great concept and the execution was absolutely dismal. He was right to get out.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Like, I was going to say like there was the Watchmen thing where he was really cranky that they made.
Oh, Alan Moore. Yeah.
Alan Moore. He was really cranky that they made it, but it was really good.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but again, it's not what he wanted. It's not. You missed his point.
Alan Moore just hates any adaptation of his work. Yeah. I think Alan Moore was just most pissed off because he did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen as well.
Oh, that was terrible. Yeah. Oh, that was heartbreakingly terrible. I was upset at how bad that was.
Sean Connery's last movie.
Was it really?
Yeah. He never went back to acting because he had such a bad time.
I mean...
Also, like, he was a bit of a shithead. Still.
Turns out, yeah. He was always my favourite Bond, and then the truth came out, and I went, not my favourite Bond.
He's a big fan of punching women.
He is a big fan, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Seeing as this is going out on the internet, allegedly.
No, he said it in interviews.
He did. He has.
Like that's not alleged. He's said it in interviews. You can
if
find
he wants to dispute it, he can sue us for defamation.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead now.
Please don't sue me, Sean Connery.
He's dead.
Is he dead?
Oh.
Did he die?
Yeah, 2020.
Oh.
31st of October.
Oh, I missed that.
We were probably a bit busy.
2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, doing nothing, locked in our houses.
Probably making sourdough or something. So next on How Much for Just the Podcast?
Tomorrow is yesterday?
Tomorrow is yesterday. The episode that sets up the time travel for this one.
Yes.
So the next episode we'll be watching is from the season previous where they set up the time travel mechanism used to establish this one.
Yes.
Impressive.
Because, well, it's set later. That's why.
Because, we're watching in stupid order.
We are.
Come back and listen to us watch stuff in stupid order. I've been Damo.
I'm still Mick.
This is Caili. Do you have? Do you want
Thanks for having me.
Do you have a wiki sign off?
Social medias
I'm on
shit?
Twitter, which I refuse to call X because it's fun to dead name something Elon actually likes.
Even Elon calls it Twitter.
Yeah.
He's a fucking idiot.
Anyway.
Yeah,
we know. At Caili Chris, CAILI CHRIS on Twitter. That's pretty much the only place you'll find me, and even then I'll only look at it if I get mentions or ads because it's Twitter and who gives a shit. Or at Caili, CAILI on Instagram, which also I don't look at very often because I'm very bad at looking at socials.
Except for TikTok. You're very good at looking at TikTok.
I'm very good at looking at TikTok, but I don't
post on that.
So
anyway, come back next time and we'll watch another episode of the original series.
We'll watch the episode and we'll watch an episode before this one.
Yes. Computer and program. How Much for Just the Podcast is a Grouse Media production.
Engage. Hologram. Energize.
The theme music you heard was the Picard rap by Nikolai Kingsley. For all links to our stuff, we have lots of stuff, go to prettygrouse.com.
There are 4 lights. Irrelevant.
year in April, our podcast is intersecting with Star Trek.
Our podcast will be doing a lot. I should have written this down. I'm doing the radio voice, but I don't have a script.